Well, hello, dear ones. Thank you for joining me on yet another midweek meditation. I trust God has been blessing you this week and will continue to do so. Now, often when I go make a hospital visit to offer encouragement to someone about to undergo surgery, I will recite two verses from Psalm 126. Those who sow with tears will reap with songs of joy. Those who go out weeping, carrying the seed to sow, will return with songs of joy, carrying sheaves with them. I explain that the surgery they are about to receive is like sowing with tears. It's like they are planting the seeds for future health. And although it may be scary and painful now, God promises a harvest of health once the recovery is made. Unfortunately, the pandemic has put the kibosh on my hospital visits this year, but hopefully that will change soon. These verses from 126 took on an even greater meaning for me when I heard an explanation from Del Tar, who was for 14 years a missionary in West Africa. Del tells more fully why it is that the sowing of the seed is an occasion for weeping and tears. He was serving in the Sahel, a vast stretch of savanna more than 4,000 miles wide, just under the Sahara Desert. In the Sahel, all the moisture comes in a 4-month period, May through August. After that, not a drop. For the next 8 months, no rain at all. The ground cracks from dryness. So do your hands and feet. The winds from the Sahara pick up the dust, sending it thousands of feet into the air, and then drops it all over West Africa as a fine grit. It gets inside your mouth, your watch, your electronics, messing it all up. Now, of course, all the food that's planted there has to be grown during those 4 months. People there will grow sorghum or milo in small fields, hoping for the best, as all farmers do. October and November, these are beautiful months. The granaries are full and the harvest has come. People sing and dance. They eat 2 meals a day. The sorghum is ground between 2 stones to make flour, and then a mush with the consistency of yesterday's cream of wheat. The sticky mush is eaten hot. They roll it into little balls between their fingers, drop it into a bit of sauce, and then pop it into their mouths. The meal lies heavy on their stomachs so they can sleep. December comes and the granaries start to recede. Many families cut out the morning meal. Certainly by January, not 1 family in 50 is still eating 2 meals a day. By February, the evening meal diminishes. The meal shrinks even more during March, and children succumb to sickness. You don't stay well on half a meal a day. Del says April is the month that haunts his memory. In April, you hear the babies crying in the twilight. Most of the days are passed with only an evening cup of gruel. And then, inevitably, it happens. A 6 or 7-year-old boy comes running to his father one day with sudden excitement. "Daddy, Daddy, we've got grain," he shouts. "Son, we haven't had grain for weeks." "Yes, we have," the boy insists. "Out in the hut where we keep the goats, there's a leather sack hanging up on the wall. I reached up and put my hand down in there, and Daddy, there's grain in there. Give it to Mommy so she can make flour, and tonight our tummies can sleep." The father stands motionless. "Son, we can't do that," he explains softly. "That's next year's seed grain. It's the only thing between us and starvation. We're waiting for the rains, and then we must use it." The rains finally arrive in May, and when they do, the young boy watches as his father takes the sack from the wall and does the most unreasonable thing imaginable. Instead of feeding his desperately weakened family, he goes to the field, and with tears streaming down his face, he takes the precious seed and throws it away. He scatters it in the dirt. Why? Because he believes in the harvest. The seed is his. He owns it. He can do anything with it he wants. The act of sowing it hurts so much that he cries. But, as the African pastors say when they preach on Psalm 126, brothers and sisters, this is God's law of the harvest. Don't expect to rejoice later on unless you have been willing to sow in tears. Dear friends, how much would it cost you to sow in tears? Most of us give out of our abundance. We barely feel the effect. Rarely do the sacrifices we make bring us to tears. No weeping involved. But have you ever been called upon to make a sacrifice so great that it made your heart break? But if you believe in the harvest, if you trust that the sacrifices you make today, those painful, hurtful, tear-jerking sacrifices, will result in tremendous rejoicing down the road, then you will carry on with the sacrifice, even as you weep. Don't consume your seed grain, my friends. There will be no harvest unless you sow it at the proper time. Jesus said, don't build up treasure for yourself on earth. It just won't last. Instead, lay up for yourselves treasure in heaven. It may cost you to do so. It may even result in tears. But the harvest will be absolutely incredible. You will come home with shouts of joy, carrying your sheaves with you. God bless you, dear friends. Thank you for joining me today. We will see you soon.